Konnichiwa, and welcome to Top Class Tokyo, a weekly read podcast about life in Japan and the collision of Asian and American culture. I am your host, Kim Sensei, English teacher by day and by night, podcaster extraordinaire, broadcasting to you from Tokyo, Japan. And joining me today from sunny Los Angeles is my lovely co-host, Justine.
Hi, Kim.
Welcome, Justine. Hello. I'm sorry, I'm a bum. I don't have anything on the agenda for today.
Okay, well, I got a lot of tea to spill for you.
Oh, shit. Hell yes. All right. You know, there was actually an earthquake early this morning. So it woke me up in the middle of the night. And I think it's all the aftershocks from the big one that happened like a week ago. Mm-hmm. There was like I don't know, probably close to somewhere around a 6.0 that shook Tokyo up.
Oh,
so if you're listening to this, they'll probably be about 2 weeks into the future from when we're recording this now. So yeah, I have nothing. I'm sorry. I am very unprepared for today's podcast.
I have plenty of things to talk about.
Awesome. What's on our report card for today? I need to call in my substitute teacher for today.
Okay.
For today's class.
I'm not sure if it's like super anime related, but like I feel like it's a culture content that I'm kind of curious about in terms of how cultures are in Japan versus America. And that would probably be my trip to Palm Springs.
Palm Springs. Tell me about Palm Springs.
So, for non-California natives, Palm Springs is in the middle of the desert and is known for their springs. Yeah, I think.
And palms? Springs and
I
palms?
imagine. Well, I know it for it's a big-ass desert and it's just like a old people retirement home and you play golf there and people have bachelorette parties there all the time because that's what you do when you have bachelorette parties, apparently. But I went there for Halloween weekend because my friend has a property there that her grandmother owned. And it was actually super fun. We were probably the youngest people at the country club. Which, well, outside of the servers, yeah, we were probably the youngest people there, which is kind of weird. But it was really chill because it's like, okay, dinner's at 6 and you can leave by 10. Hell yeah, sign me up. But the question I was curious about is there like, is there like a country club type-esque like community in Japan? Or if they're specifically an elderly like gay community equivalent like Palm Springs is to California for Japan. But I don't know if you're very involved with the elderly gay population in Japan, so I don't know if we'll have answers today.
As far as elderly population, I kind of feel like it's literally just the Japanese countryside. So like if you are not in an urban center in Japan, if you go into the rural villages, if you go into the rural villages, there's really no young people because all the young people have left the outskirts, the rural areas, and come to the city for work. So what you're left with are these aging, villages out in the country because if you're familiar with any of the demographic trends that have been happening in Japan for the last 20 years, they have a quickly aging boomer and like even older war generation that probably leading the world in having like the most elderly people, and it's like this upside down triangle of like people slowly getting older and older, like into their 80s and 90s, and less young people to replace those old people. So there's going to be like 100,000. They're losing like 100,000 old people every year. So it's like it's basically children of men here, and like there aren't any like young people being born here anymore. So that like Japanese people are actually dying out, and like their population is shrinking.
Well, shit.
So they don't specifically build retirement centers or like retirement towns or retirement homes because they don't need to, because like literally the children just leave the actual town that they were born in, come to like the city, and then what you're left with is like the old person. It becomes like an old person town. You know what I mean? So and I don't think it's a lot like Latin American culture too, where you have generational households. So like most children will stay in the family household that they grew up in until they get married. So yeah, I don't think there's anything really like Palm Springs. I think that's a uniquely American kind of idea, especially, and then also because we have so much land and that we can just like go out to the middle of the desert and
This
like
is the old
create
man
a town.
theme park, the old people theme park.
Yeah, with the intention of creating like a planned development like that for a retirement community. Yeah.
Darn, I was
Yeah,
all
so-
like, I want to know where all the old gay, like, Japanese folks are at and kick it with them because they were so fun. It was like, all the conversations are super wholesome and they're all super cute. And they're all like, oh, you guys are so cute. It was like, oh my god, they're so nice to me and they mean it because they're old and they actually
Aw.
mean that we're cute. So I actually believe them. So it was very, like, morale
Did you say
boosting.
old gay?
Yeah.
Like this retirement community that you went to was specifically for gay people?
Well, it was like they were all old. A lot of them were also conveniently gay. So it wasn't specifically for like old gay people only. It was just like criteria was be old and own a property.
Be old, but it was very LGBT friendly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was super
Well,
awesome.
that's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing about Japanese society is that I don't think they've quite caught up to like the same sort of sexual liberty here. So people are still very closeted here, and it's not. I don't feel safe. You know, I wouldn't feel safe being somebody out over here because anyone different obviously gets bullied and harassed here. So
it's so weird though, because like, haven't they recently like legalized same-sex marriage in Japan, and that was like a thing? Or
if they did, it was very recent.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been socially widespread accepted. Maybe in Tokyo, if you're downtown, like it literally in just like Shibuya, Harajuku area, no one is going to give you a second look. But I feel like once you leave those sort of like pocket neighborhoods where there's a lot of progressive youth movement happening, I don't know. It's almost like, you know, the same thing in like the Bay Area where there's like the Castro district in San Francisco, you know, where there are neighborhoods where you can feel safe and you can be out and proud, but I feel like it's really limited here in Tokyo. There are gay neighborhoods like that, like just like the Castro. I know that around Shinjuku there's Nichome, which is famous for being like a gay lesbian kind of district. And they also have like gay themed, like it's like a whole concentration of like gay host bars and like hostess bars and like
I want to go to the gay hostess bars.
I feel so weird about like host and hostess bars, like yeah, that too. But I wish I just spoke Japanese, really. So, I feel like it's part of me doesn't want to go to those places because I feel like it's the commodification of like gay sexuality in a way, because it's almost like you're just paying for like a novelty sort of. In some of the, you know, for like a Japanese, I don't know, consumer, for someone who'd want to go there. Maybe I'm just like thinking about.
But if you think about how difficult it is for like identifying as gay or lesbian, and trying to make friends with the community or not really knowing who to talk to, I feel like it would provide a space for them to really explore that and see if they're comfortable like learning about it.
That is true, because I don't. Yeah, because I don't think even at work when I'm at work. I realized, like, just recently, maybe in over the last couple months, that there really aren't the same. We don't think of our workplace here in Japan as having like safe spaces either.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in just 2 years, I've had so many like microaggressions that have happened, so that don't make me that really kind of like have been like red flag moments for me that I'm like, hey, wait a minute. If I had an HR department, I might have reported something by now.
Uh-huh.
That I like you. I would feel weird posting up a rainbow triangle like at my desk.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would get so much like scrutiny, and like how people have like those posters around the workplace are like, this is a safe space, or even like when I taught in when I was teaching in a public high school in America, like the school would have like in the counselor's office like designated safe spaces for kids to go if they ever felt bullied, or if they were having just a moment where they just felt so overwhelmed with something, they just needed like a mental health break. Just like a quiet space where they could go and just be away from everything. Like I don't think that really exists in Japan, in schools or in the workplace. So I think Japan has a lot of catching up to do in terms of like accepting mental health as a real thing. Yeah, so and I don't know, maybe it's like it's those microaggressions too, and I'm like going to like Japanese class, and like every relationship example when you're like making sentences is like a cis het normative. So I'm just like, okay,
This is Sam and Mary. This is the only relationship that exists.
Right. It's Mary and Takeshi, actually. So I feel like they thought they were being progressive by having an interracial relationship.
They're trying. Give them a couple, like, 20, 30 years, maybe.
Like, yeah,
optimistically.
all right. That's one baby step forward. It's like my only two choices are boyfriend or girlfriend.
Okay, wait up. Do you mind if
Time.
Okay, but yes, I think grading in terms of
Palm
visiting
Springs?
Palm
How are you
Springs.
supposed to grade?
We're grading on seeing how our target demographic is like weeb community within like the millennial, early millennial, late millennial age frame. Palm Springs is not overrated, and it's not just for old people because the community is like genuinely wholesome, and I would go and spend money there because when you tell yourself you're retired, but you actually are retired, but you don't want to accept the fact that you're retired, and there's old people who are really retired. It's a nice like refresher.
Can you say retired one more time?
Retired. It's a nice like.
I got lost after like the fifth retired in there.
Okay, I don't know. How should I deliver this? I honestly I recommend Palm Springs because
Palm Springs,
wholesome
A+.
content only.
Be old.
Makes
Palm
you feel
Springs.
not as old as other people are. Is that too offensive? Will the old people be upset?
Actually, I don't know, because it's weird. I feel so like if you live in a retirement community, it really is so specific to a certain demographic, because you even have to have like a certain amount of money just to live there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you're not dealing with I feel like the upper and the lower ends of the socioeconomic ladder. It's all like middle class old people who have the funds to live in a retirement community, and the like open and like entertainment kind of seeking attitude that they want to live in a place where they can be social with other old people. So it's like you're gonna get like a a relatively wealthy, old, outgoing person, and like it's just gonna attract like all that same type of people who want to live in
Okay,
like
good, because
Palm
they're all
Springs.
very social and welcoming, and it was a very enjoyable weekend. We had this
Yeah.
very
Okay.
memorable, like both of our bartenders are these like old white dudes, and the one of the bartenders had this very distinctive like if G.I. Joe, like the doll, was like a person and was a retired bartender at a country club. Literally, that was our favorite bartender. He was like gassing us up so much on Friday. We like drove in and we had dinner, and pretty much it was like maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and he's all like, "Oh, where's the party at, ladies?" And just like, "We're going to bed." And he's like, "What? What do you mean?" And I was just like, "Oh my god, he thinks we're young and we still go out past 10 o'clock. Bless his heart." But yeah, I was just like, all these guys are very supportive and don't really accept the fact that we're all old and dying and it sucks.
Living life to the fullest.
For real.
Yeah. Okay. Well, aspirations, hashtag goals, I guess, to have that much zest for life when I'm at that age.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd want to live in a retirement home though. I feel like I'd still want to be a part of like society as a whole. I don't know if I would want to like. Maybe I'd get tired of all the young and these young Gen Z kids running around who would probably be parents by that age. Yeah, so that's interesting. Whoever is Gen Alpha coming next, our grandchildren would be Alpha generation after that. That's interesting. I wonder how things will change by then.
So that was the extent of my Halloween adventure.
Did anyone dress up? Did you see costumes?
Yes, there was a costume contest at the Halloween party, the retirement or gated community Halloween party, and there was like best women's costume, best men's costume, and best couples costume. And there was like the women's costume was this like undead bride that had like a stake through her heart, and it was like a very like well made costume. Like she put effort into that. And it's like dang.
Nice.
And then the winner of the best male dress costume was some guy dressed up as the rioter from the was it January 6th insurrection thing.
Shut
And I
up.
was like,
What?
oh my god. Let's read the room of how many Republicans live in this
Shut
gated community.
up.
And that was the one fucking one. I was just like, okay, well.
I wonder how popular that costume actually was, because I saw that Hassan Piker on Twitch.
Uh-huh.
Like, I follow him on Twitter, so I saw that that was his costume for Halloween. Like, he was a July 6th, January 6th, storm the Capitol insurrectionist. So like I didn't know that was going to be that's a very political costume.
But it was like one of those things
it actually made an appearance.
My friend was saying like, well, Republicans like back like 30, 40 years ago, Reagan era, were different from Republicans now. So it makes sense how like the community would be like more Republican, but not as like weird Republican as the Republicans are now.
Not modern day Republican. Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
It's
like,
a different thing.
I thought they were all generally super friendly and welcoming and level-headed. Yeah. I was just like, you guys are so normal and nice. Okay, but then the couple's costume, the winners were like this Batman, no, Catwoman and who wears the yellow type? Robin. Okay, Catman and Robin couple's costume.
Batman and Robin?
I know, but it was like Catwoman and Robin. I don't know why he wasn't Batman.
Catwoman and Robin.
But it was like just like a Batman theme couple's costume. So they won, but that's because I was really drunk by then, and I was the one yelling the loudest because it was Catwoman. And she was Asian. There's only 2 Asians at the whole retirement home, and I was just super excited.
See.
And they're both conveniently dressed up as cats.
That's a go-to.
Like, my voice is kind of like raspy now because literally I was screaming for both of them.
I will cut you some slack. Yeah, I mean, it was Halloween weekend this past weekend, so no problems. Everybody's been hungover, so yeah. Uh, I yeah. As for me, I did not go out for Halloween, so I was a very, very boring person being a homebody because after my 2020 Halloween last year, like I spent most of the first part of Halloween, or not Halloween, the first part of 2020 just holed up in my house so that by the time October 31st came around, October 31st, 2020, I was like, that was the first time in the entire year that I had basically gone out and left my apartment just to kind of like peek my head out and see like what the rest of is society still here kind of things. Like I crawled out from under my rock to like see what was going on in Tokyo. And I had a few drinks too many that night. So that was
Taking it easy this year.
yeah, I thought it was best to stay in and not take my chances.
Did you binge anything during your nice, safe, quiet Halloween?
Oh God! Actually, now that you bring it up, this is a perfect time to mention that I stayed in bed and watched my new my new favorite harem anime. That kind of checks all the boxes for me. The everything that I'm looking for in a harem anime, this kind of checks every box. So this anime, actually, this is a weeb podcast, so let's talk about anime.
No way.
What's the title? It's like the.
Oh wait, tell me more about this harem anime.
The harem anime. The Hidden Dungeon Only I Can Enter is the translated title. I don't know what it is in Japanese, but I've already watched like 8 episodes of it, and it's just guilty pleasure harem anime. The dumbest main character is completely oblivious. It's really cute. I don't know. There's really not much to it. It's a fantasy anime. There's elves. There's magic. He's completely over OP. Like, he's got powers that he does not deserve, and nor did he earn them. It's interesting though how like into the hierarchy structure, like how detailed the hierarchy structure is laid out in the world building for this series, because it's, I don't know, I guess I feel like Japan aligns really well with European feudalism, just in the sense of like, oh, we get this. This is monarchy. Find your place. Find your place in the monarchy and in the social structure and the hierarchy. So like in the first episode, there's like literally like a pyramid, and it's just like with the different colors, and it's like detailing like who's in what category and how you should be treating like the different people at different levels. So like at the top is a duke, and like there's a duke's daughter, and she's got this curse on her, and like the main character is a baronet, and he's at the very bottom, so he's like barely a noble, and he's super poor. But he meets a adventurer in a dungeon, and she basically gives him she like takes him in as her disciple and starts training him all these magic powers. So he's like suddenly super powerful, and like he's able to enter like the Heroes Academy, and it's basically a school setting in a European medieval sort of era with fantasy mixed in. So there's like monsters fighting, and like elves, and like magical talking creatures, and what else is there? Yeah.
I'm all like, I'm gonna hold on till I see the character design before I commit to anything, because I'm all about aesthetics.
Special. It's not anything special. It's not anything pretty. I just like, I Actually, it's also very gamified. That was the other thing I was
Okay.
going to say about it. It's very gamified, the way that the magical system works. And I almost don't like how gamified it's become, because it's sort of like the person writing this really put a lot of thought into like the game design. If this was a video game, like it would show you all the stats on the screen. The main character actually talks about how many like life points he has, and like how much life points it costs him to actually cast spells and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and since it's a harem anime, he like gains life points from doing like hedonistic acts. Like if a girl like kisses him, he'll gain like 500 points or something like that, or like it'll like heal him. Yeah, it's kind of cute. And like I even like some of like the character interactions between like the female characters in his own harem. So yeah, there's lots of friendship and like they all get along.
Only.
Wholesome, not really. there's just like a few like wholesome moments sprinkled into like the lewd.
Oh, okay. So the lewd moments only is the solids, and then the wholesome is just to like tone it down a bit.
Actually, it's kind of well balanced, because I'm like, I didn't know, because there's like a spectrum of harem anime of how like how much it teases you, because there's some anime that is like borderline hentai where it goes all the way and it shows you like pretty like they literally fuck, or you know, and if not on camera, off camera, and it's like it's basically a hentai, to like the very very tame harem animes where it's almost just entirely about the relationships and the character development between each of the people in the harem with the main character. Like for example, I would say like one of the first anime that I ever saw when I was back in high school was Love Hina. And I feel like that's such a classic harem that it set the standard for me. And also like it's very tame. It's like, you know, it was back in the 90s, so I don't think it could take things to an extreme at that you know time. But yeah, I feel like that A tier anyways for anyone who hasn't seen Love Hina. Please watch Love Hina. Even if you're not into harem animes, I think it's a really great anime to watch. And that one is super tame, and it's I would say if it's kind of like on this, if you liked something like Ouran High School where it was a reverse harem, like that's, you know, the level of how tame harem the Love Hina is. So like in that spectrum, I feel like there's a lot of harems that have come over the years to kind of like fill out the that spectrum, from very tame in terms of like how graphic it is on screen to like basically hentai.
I'm like thinking back of it now, and I'm like, okay, back in the 90s, I felt like harem animes were a lot more wholesome, and progressively throughout the reiterations of harem, it just got lewder and lewder and lewder to the point where it's just like, okay, yeah, this is just harem porn now. I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like they were actually two separate genres at one point that have now kind of fused to create this spectrum where it's like there used to be harem animes where it was very innocent, and then there was just straight up hentai, and there wasn't really much overlap, maybe a little bit of overlap just to kind of like tease the harem watcher and be like, okay, here's my harem over here and here's my hentai over here. So different moods. But yeah, I think there's a lot more overlap happening these days.
So what's the
and for as far as report card for Hidden Dungeon, I don't think it's good enough to deserve an A or B. I give it a C+, because the art is not there either.
Okay. Because I was just thinking about the English translation title itself. I'm just like, yeah, this sounds like it can get pretty hentai pretty fast. I'm just like, if the art's nice enough, I wouldn't mind it. But
no, the art is not that great. I just love harem animes.
Oh, okay. It has to be like
Yeah.
the character design. That this is the only reason I watch anime, read manga, cosplay.
It's not as bad as some anime. It's not completely unwatchable. Like, it's okay. Like, I could actually see some cute cosplays being made out of the characters. So
Okay.
it's not like DF tier, but it's not AB tier. That's why I give it a
Okay.
solid C. It's a solid C for me. Like, it's watchable. It's decent. There's enough quality in the animation to, like, for me to want to finish the series.
Okay.
And see where it goes. So, yeah. All right. One thing on our report card today.
We're on the board.
For anime.
It's irrelevant. I was like, now I feel like I should watch more.
Oh shit! That's the other thing that I saw this weekend. The fucking season 2 of Demon Slayer. Did you see this? I got really confused. Did you watch it?
I haven't started it yet, but tell me more because I don't have access to Demon Slayer yet.
So, I saw the movie
Mm-hmm.
when it came out in Japan in theaters over the summer when they were hyping like the Mugen Train arc and everything. Season 2 is literally the movie. That's the same thought that I had when I went into the theater to see the movie. I was like, I went and saw it with my brother, and he had never watched Demon Slayer. He watches occasionally like some anime series, and he's into some shonens. Like he'll watch a Jujutsu Kaisen, and he actually thinks Jujutsu Kaisen is better than Demon Slayer, although he hasn't seen Demon Slayer. He puts Jujutsu Kaisen really high. So I was like, oh, if you like that, then you should come watch the Demon Slayer movie with me.
Mm-hmm.
So he went in with an open mind, and like having never seen season 1, never read the manga or anything, just brand new, sat down and watched the movie, and I thought it was such an awkward introduction to the Demon Slayer series to start at Mugen Train. And when I sat down in the theater, it didn't feel like a theatrical release. It felt like 3 episodes that were stitched together to make a movie-length film. And that's exactly what it was, because someone at work here in Japan was like, oh yeah, did you hear, like, season 2 is just dropped for Demon Slayer? And I got all hyped, and I was like, oh shit, so this is gonna pick up where Mugen Train left off. But no. It is literally the 3 episodes that are cut up, and they're labeled 1, 2, 3, and it's the Mugen Train movie. And I don't know if people already knew this, but this was news to me. And I was like, what the fuck? I thought this movie was going to be the bridge between season 1 and season 2, and not the actual start of season 2. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I thought that this movie was going to be like a legit like Pokemon movie, or like a legit standalone film on its own that's not meant to be 3 episodes, which is why, like, I thought the pacing of the Mugen Train movie was so awkward, because it felt like it was written as if it was 3 separate episodes, and it was just like the climax and like the conclusions of each of those episodes you could feel while you're sitting in the theater. And it was like this it felt like you were watching TV in the movie theater, and it was just like watching, like you're just at home binge watching on Netflix, but you're sitting in a movie theater, which was really weird. I don't know.
Maybe they just really wanted to push out like promo material and was like, we can capture a larger audience, gassing up this second season.
That is some weak shit, and I am disappointed, because Demon Slayer set the bar so high for itself that I thought we were getting a legit movie out of the summer, because it's been so hyped up. They even took a year off. Like, this is not it. Like, they're basically pulled an Attack on Titan, and like Attack on Titan never released a movie. Am I right? Like, there's no movie that
Not that I remember.
was ever released for Attack on Titan in between their seasons. So, and they had a hiatus, long hiatus in between their series. So, I don't know what's happening. I'm very disappointed. I thought I was gonna get some brand new episodes in season 2. So, I guess I'm just gonna have to wait for episode 4 to drop to actually get season 2 started. So that's my disappointment. Report card, this is plagiarism. Do better, Demon Slayer. Redo. I want to see your work.
I'm so glad I'm not missing
Episodes
out
1 to
on
3.
the first or the start of second season for Demon Slayer.
I am
like,
angry. Sensei is disappointed in you. So, I mean, as far as like, as a movie, I'm actually very disappointed that we didn't actually get a movie. So, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say F tier. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Demon Slayer. Do better.
Give him a chance. We'll make it up episode 4. Optimistically.
Yes. Plagiarism. Redo.
Maybe they just didn't want to
copy.
leave any of the people who don't watch movies left out of the loop.
It's just like recycling like an essay. I feel like it's like you write one essay and then you just copy paste it and you turn in the assignment again.
And participation credits, right? I turned something in.
Okay, so if they turn something in, maybe a D.
Okay.
A D. Maybe you pass.
Cause like
Just a
maybe
little
like
bit.
if they were to like sell like the whole episodes, they would be like, oh, what the fuck happened here? And then it wouldn't be complete as a whole like season per season. It wouldn't be complete, so they had to just do like a recap of everything. So that way it would make sense instead of like, oh, why the fuck are you guys on this other adventure again? What happened in between?
No, but a recap is like a 5-minute segment that happens at the beginning of an episode. It's not the whole fucking episode. You see what I mean? Like, that's not a recap. 3 episodes that are 24 minutes long is not a recap. That's an entire episode.
They fucked up and spent all the animation budget on making the fucking movie. They're like, oh shit, we don't have enough money to make the second season, guys. What do? We have to write more? Okay, just put something together. Literally, I imagine that's what they did.
Yeah, I know. But then if it's like, if they knew that they weren't going to have that budget, they wrote the movie as if it was 3 episodes. So this was pre-planned. This was
okay.
pre-planned. They knew what they were doing. They're cutting corners.
They deserve their disappointment.
Disappointed. Yeah, disappointed.
Did you hear about that one young guy that was stabbing people on the train in Japan?
Fuck.
And the fire. That was
Yes!
freaking wild.
After I woke up from the earthquake, I was on Twitter just scrolling because I like didn't go back to sleep right away, and it was like someone on my IG stories posted like the fucking viral ass video of somebody on the train, like, you know, capturing the moment like the train got on fire and people running out of the train. And I was like, oh shit, that was like, I wasn't there like on that train line, but I like, that was like, oh my god, that was like literally hours after like I just gotten home. It was like happened like at 9 at night, and I had gotten out to get Korean barbecue with some friends, and I was like, oh shit, that's nuts. And like people were like trying to like open the subway windows
yeah.
and we're just jumping out of the train as it was like burning. It was bananas.
I was
and
like, what
I'm
the
so
hell's
glad they
going
caught the
on?
dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he stabbed 10 people after, and then he set the train on fire.
Yeah.
And that's so scary.
I was like, Kim, you good?
Nah.
Sweats nervously. This is the Japanese equivalent of
everywhere now.
Yeah. The Japanese equivalent of like some mass shooting somewhere is just some unstable Japanese guy stabbing people on trains and lighting it on fire.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of train disruptions that happen, like, usually, like, almost every week you would see some kind of, like, notice on the screens at the train station, like, oh, train line is delayed due to like human interference or something like that, or like person on the tracks, or and then sometimes it's a euphemism for somebody like trying to commit suicide. Sometimes it's a drunk salaryman who's just lost his balance and fell down and like fell onto the tracks. So it's something happened, and then they'll put up like a human related incident notice on the screen to let you know how late the train is going to be. But yeah, I've never seen anything to this level where there's like a literal train car on fire and like multiple people have been like stabbed and like I think one was like critically injured. So really, really scary to think about how often and how close to home this was.
Yeah, and it's like I didn't read too deep into the article, but they're saying that there were like flammable stuff hidden on each of the carts, like hydrochloric acid or something.
Yeah, there was like that reminds me, because like back in the 90s or something, like it was a while ago, that there was a gas attack on the trains and like a bunch of people died from inhaling like poison gas. So I think it kind of sounds like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the same chemical, but it sounds like might have been what he was trying to do.
And I was like,
that's scary, because it's almost like a terror attack, because it's like he's just trying to inflict as much harm as possible.
Well, I'm glad you're safe.
Yes.
As the unsettling feelings come in, it's like, ugh. I'm all thinking about it too. It's like you're on a train, you can't really get out, so that's executed.
And this is part of the reason why I wanted to stay in, because I feel like Japanese people get crazy on Halloween. Like they like, I feel like Halloween is just like an excuse for Japanese people to like literally like the freaks to come out. like you would see like the worst behavior in the streets, and like because like you would see like your Shibuya meltdowns, your usual Shibuya meltdowns, but I don't know, it's just like I feel like it's almost like the Purge. Like it's Night of the Purge. So I wanted to take it easy and stay in and watch my harem animes.
Good on you.
Yeah, right, I would be safe.
Just slowly embrace the neat life. It is an acceptable part of society now.
The hikikomoris were right. It's better inside. Yeah. Finally, we'd like to end with some Q&A. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or requests for topics you'd like to hear more about, please reach out to us on our social media at Top Class Tokyo on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, or send us an email at topclasstokyo@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and class dismissed. I don't know. I was brainstorming so hard for that. I was like,
you got it, Kim. You got it.
Class dismissed. Class dismissed. See you guys next week.